Welcome to Ignite News. I'm Andrew Cameron.
And I'm Graham Newark.
And today, we're going to be sharing with you some recent stories around Mohawk College and the Hamilton area.
Dundas residents and those from surrounding areas are getting an early start to pumpkin picking this year. Haynes Corn Maze is located on farmland, featuring a variety of activities for families to enjoy. Some activities include touring the pumpkin patch, playing on the playground, traveling through a corn maze, and visiting the animals on the farm. People can experience farm life by visiting some of the horses, donkeys, and cows. You can pet some of them too. Couples and families gathered around to feed the livestock, including Dusty the horse and a herd of hungry Nigerian dwarf goats. The pigs and piglets grabbed people's attention too. Some of the piglets were even up for sale. The corn maze changes every year, and this year, the maze is designed to take people along a 1-hour trail in the field. Farm attendant Noble McCain says that Haynes Corn Maze is a popular family outing.
Honestly, I think it's just like a nice experience because we change up the maze every year, give them new ideas, come up with new ideas for farmland, just new family-friendly activities, do a little brainstorming before fall season starts. Just a nice little place to go.
The country life vibe attracts nearby residents every year, making this a tradition for some families. People can also celebrate their birthdays at the farm.
I've been coming to Haynes Corn Maze since I was a child. My birthday is in November, so we used to come here for my birthday parties every year. Now we get to bring my nephews and stuff, so it's pretty great. We love this farm because we love the corn maze at night, especially trying to get out. What's your favorite part here?
I like going in the corn maze a lot.
The corn maze? Do you like the go-karts over there? Yeah. What's your favorite animal?
Probably the goats.
The goats, yeah. We like feeding the goats, and there's always brand new baby animals every year. They take really good care of them, so we love it here.
To get tickets for Haynes Corn Maze, visit thehaynescornmaze.com. For Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Lika Aldrich.
Hey, what are you up to?
Oh, hey. I'm just playing some game on my phone, just to kill time.
Is it multiplayer? Can I verse you?
Not this one, but I'll tell you what. On November 4th, the college is holding a LAN party. We can play any game we want, and I'll kick your butt.
Oh, in your dreams.
Yeah, I doubt that. A few weeks back, Mohawk College held its first LAN party that brought gamers together to compete with each other. Samson Mayrabi has the story.
Dozens of Mohawk College students took part in an event called the LAN Party. A LAN Party is a gaming event where students can game together in the same room. Players can then download and play multiplayer games off the Mohawk College computers. Brian Menage, Mohawk College professor and LAN Party organizer, explains more about this event.
Well, there's basically two things. You can play computer games with like I said, with other students. A lot of students are familiar with playing computer games over the internet, and when you kill an enemy or another player in a game, there's some reaction to that. But at a LAN party, when you kill another player, there's a good chance they could be sitting right beside you, and they can say, who did that to me? And then you can say, I did that to you. So it's a bit more fun that way. And then there's also cooperative games where a bunch of people will work together to achieve an objective.
Students like Andrew Ririsich participated in the LAN Party event for the cooperative experiences.
On the virtual space, it's like you're very much alone, and you're just getting inputs both from your friends and from the game. But in real life, it's like there's the echo to the room, there's the energy that you can really feel everybody there and participate, having fun and having a good time.
Students only need to sign in to participate in this event as per Mohawk College's security policy. Menage explains that other than security rules, the main rule of the event is to have fun with others.
There's no agenda. Like, we don't say, okay, we're playing, a particular game at 7 o'clock. We just, people just say, hey, I want to play Halo, or I want to play Left 4 Dead. And people say, oh, okay, I want to play that. And so they just start playing together. And sometimes there's people that they already know, and other times they're new friends that hopefully they're making.
In case you missed this event, there will be more LAN parties running before the end of the semester. For more information, go to www.mohawkcollege.ca/events. For Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Samson Mayrabi.
Hey, so how are your grades doing?
A little personal, isn't it?
There's something going on?
Alright, fine, I'll be honest with you here. I'm flunking pretty much every course I'm in right now.
Well, may I suggest the LSC?
LSC? What's that?
It's the Learning Support Center upstairs from the food court in Mohawk.
And are any of the dollar bills in my wallet gonna burn after that?
No, in fact, it's free.
Alright, maybe I will take a look at that then. Caitlin Charbonneau has the story.
College classes can be overwhelming, but luckily, services like the Learning Support Center at Mohawk are here to help. The center is a staple for peer-to-peer support, offering a variety of free services such as peer tutoring, study sessions, workshops, and events geared towards student success. Tina Brajic, program lead at the LSC, explains what she and her team are all about.
Support Center has all the free academic peer tutoring supports for students available in our space here and at all of our campuses. So we offer a wide range of workshops, peer tutoring appointments, drop-ins. So you can get help with primarily your first year courses at the Learning Support Center. And yes, come and see us for all your peer tutoring needs. We also have lots of conversation club if you want to practice your English, if English is not your first language. We have study skills, writing, course content, and math tutoring. So please come and see us.
Student leaders with a GPA of 80% or higher employ the LSC and strive to help fellow students with their work. Kelly Maria, a writing tutor, explains what it's like to help her fellow students.
I find it really helpful to be able to communicate with other students, and it's also just really rewarding to be able to help people who come in and need the extra help.
There's no shame in needing a little help, so if you're looking for study support, visit the LSC in person or online from September 19th to December 9th. For Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Caitlin Charbonneau.
On a more serious note, we would like to acknowledge the violence in Iran and the death of Mahsa Amini.
People took to City Hall to protest this matter. Julian Orlando has the story.
A large group of people came out to protest in front of City Hall to raise their voice against the violent situation taking place in Iran after the death of Mahsa Amini. A protestant who prefers to remain unknown explains her frustration.
We are angry, we are upset. Being from the diaspora, we often just see a lot of violence take place of our peoples back home. A lot of people just killed in cold blood.
The day was cloudy and there were signs of rain, but that didn't stop people from expressing themselves freely. Some participants held signs and pictures expressing discomfort, while others took a megaphone to speak out against the violent acts that women are living in Iran. Romina Casimiwala, one of the protesters, explains the purpose of this event.
And we're just here so that even if we can't really do anything because the women are fighting on the streets on their own, we're here to support them and to let the world know what's going on in Iran.
Most of the attendees began to leave the site at 7 p.m. For Mohawk College Journalism, I am Julian Orlando.
Lime Ridge Mall recently hosted an event called Running for Rachel.
The fundraising event is to raise awareness for suicide prevention.
Carly Baker has the story.
This year marks the 10th anniversary for Running for Rachel. The event is put on each year to discuss suicide prevention and raise money. People can raise money as a team or individually. The money raised is donated to the Suicide Prevention Community Council of Hamilton. Participants can choose to either walk or run a 5-kilometer distance around the perimeter of CF Lime Ridge Mall. This is the first time in 2 years that people were able to come together in person.
We had an in-person event originally back in 2019, and then unfortunately because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to transition to an online format. 2022, this year, we're returning for an in-person event, and we're really excited to have everyone back.
The event was made in efforts to remember Rachel, who lost her life to suicide. Their goal is to generate hope and healing in the community. This runner shares a little advice as to what we can do.
I think just having conversations openly about suicide, mental health, mental illness is what we need to do as a community.
On the Running for Rachel website, Rachel is described as a quirky and expressive girl who wanted to help others who struggled like she did. Her story is told through friends and family who come together and support the movement. Donations are encouraged until October 31st. By going on runningforrachel.com, you can help the fundraiser reach their goal of $40,000. From Mohawk College Journalism, this is Carly Baker.
Hey, have you listened to any good podcasts recently?
Actually, yeah, I've been listening to a few recently. There's one that stands out the most to me, though. It's by Caitlin Charbonneau and Julian Orlando. It's about music. The last episode they did, phenomenal.
Is that the one with Andrew Billy on?
Yes, it is. Why don't you take a listen for yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Julian,
And I'm Caitlin.
and we're here for Ignite Radio, and we are here interviewing Andrew Billion. So, hey man, how's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Can you get us a general overview of what you do, and yeah, like tell us a bit about yourself.
So I'm Andrew Ballone from Hamilton, Ontario. So I work here at Halo Studio as a recording engineer. I also do some accounting in my as a side job, and I play in a band called Silvertone Hills.
Yeah, that's cool. I've seen that you are releasing some new songs, some new music with your band. Can you tell us about the experience of making new music and just having a band and being a musician in Hamilton?
Yeah, being in a band is one of the greatest feelings. As someone who's been playing guitar my whole life, being able to get together with other musicians who have the same interests as you and get up on stage and play that for people is a super exciting thing. And then to be able to take ideas from when they're in their smallest form and then bring it to some place like this, like a recording studio, and bring it to life, is kind of something surreal that I'm lucky to get the experience to do. So we're kind of in preparation for our first full-length album coming out next year. So we've released one single from that already, and now we're kind of doing shows to support that over the next couple months.
That's awesome. How long have you and your band been together and playing music?
It's been about 5 years now with the lineup that we have. So not seasoned veterans, but we've been in it a couple of years to kind of get a feel for how things are going. And we hope that we can kind of continue going upwards from here.
And, as a Hamilton musician, how would you say that the Hamilton music scene is, and how you guys kind of contribute to it?
I'm always super appreciative of the Hamilton music scene because it seems like whenever I go to a local venue, I see a lot of the same people. And I think that's because there's this sense of community built around the city and the music that's here. Whenever we play shows, we try and make it a big event for our friends and family in Hamilton, because we only play Hamilton, say, 2-3 times a year. But anytime that we do, we make sure that everyone's informed about it, and we try and make it a big event, and that kind of benefits the venues to have, obviously, a big turnout.
You guys have been playing for 5 years.
Yep.
Do you think that your audience or your public has been growing up, or like in numbers, like your audience or fans, call it?
Yeah, I think that with every release we do, we kind of see a little bit of growth, whether that's in terms of like online presence or people who are physically coming to shows. What's a really rewarding feeling is meeting people at concerts who said that they discovered you through social media or heard about you online, that you didn't sort of go out of your way to invite personally. So we've kind of had that at the past couple concerts where people have come up to us and told us how they found out about us. So that's inspiring, and it keeps us going. And it makes the whole thing very rewarding. So we're making music because it's the music that we enjoy, but to give it to people and to connect through that is a nice experience to have.
And I know, aside from making your own music, you help other people make theirs.
Yep.
So is that something that's also rewarding and you enjoy as a job? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I started doing engineering just as a hobby at home in order to get my music onto the computer. But when I realized that I kind of had a bit of a knack for it and doing the kind of tweaking and geeky technical stuff, I wanted to take it a little bit further. And when I found out that you could work in a studio as an engineer, that's been a great experience because now I'm able to sort of hone my skills while helping other people carry out their visions of what their music should be. So in the same way that I was doing it for myself, I'm now helping other people do that. So it's kind of it's a nice rewarding system all around.
Nice. So you usually get artists, and you're a music engineer, right? So you produce for other artists, like most of them are hip hop or rap artists. and you as part of a rock band. How's the experience like to produce different kinds of music from the music that you make on your own?
Yeah, so the people that come in here kind of vary across all different genres. Throughout the week, when we have smaller, shorter sessions, those are usually the hip hop and rap stuff. And it's interesting because that's not a genre that I normally listen to, like in my free time, but I'm starting to get into some stuff that these people do, and I can kind of take things on how I would engineer those vocals and apply that to different styles. So there's no genre that I don't like working on, because I treat them all as learning experiences. And I think no matter who comes in here, I'm trying to constantly improve and make their stuff sound better. So a good sound is a good sound, no matter what the style is.
But yeah, like as we talked before, you have 3 jobs. So you have the project with your band, you are the music engineer, and you have a job like as an accountant.
Yeah.
Right. So my question is, how do you manage the time? How do you measure, and how do you like get away with the things that you have to do? Like, I mean, it's too much. I don't know how you do that.
Well, I wish the band one, you could call it a job if it paid well.
Oh.
But it's a job in time for sure. The reason I do all that stuff is because it's a passion of mine. So to me, it doesn't really feel like a job. I went to school for accounting, and that's something that I'm good at. So I try and use that to make a bit of money. But I don't want that to be my only focus. So being able to work on music as a hobby and work in music as a job kind of lets me be surrounded by stuff that I'm passionate about more often during the day. So I never really look at it as something that's like tedious or painful work, even if it is taking up most of my day. It's something that I want to do, and it's rewarding. So that's sort of how I balance it, by just changing the way that I look at it.
You're definitely lucky to find, a job and something that you enjoy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, just as a whole, the Hamilton music scene, just to wrap things up a bit, how do you feel that the Hamilton music scene as a whole kind of represents itself in the music community, and what do you feel that you bring to it with your music engineering as well as your band?
Like I said, I think as a whole, it's rewarding to see when you go to venues, consistent crowds. I know some cities from here to Toronto don't really have that kind of network. So whenever I go to a venue, I usually see some of the same people because they're interested in seeing live concerts. So on that end, I'm definitely appreciative that there's people to support what myself and other musicians are doing. And then working in a studio and having constant work means that there's other musicians like me who want to put their stuff out. So kind of on both ends, there's a steady flow of musicians and a steady flow of music fans. So I think as long as those two things can keep thriving, then Hamilton will too.
Okay. I think that would be it. Thank you so much, Andrew, for being here with us. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast and watching us talking to Andrew, and hope to see you soon.
Cheers, thanks.
What you doing, Graham?
I'm looking for something spooky. It's the season.
Well, all right, I got a recommendation for you. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
All right, it's this documentary. It's on Dundurn Castle. It's called Ghost of the Hammer.
Sounds very interesting.
Here, why don't we take a look at it?
Sounds good.
My name is Daniel Pinolato, and I am head ghost guide and manager of the Ghost House. Now, Dundurn Castle is a really interesting one because, when you think about it with historical locations, sometimes it's a bit of an old-fashioned view. I am a full believer that ghosts come along with the history, that it is a way that it can connect you to that past. So places like Dundurn Castle, for example, they aren't very open to their ghost stories. They don't outright ban it, but I know they discourage it. They discourage ghost stories being told inside the house, ghost stories shared around. And for this reason, we lose a lot of great experiences because this place is just rich with history. So there's no doubt this place is haunted. And one of the stories that was shared to us a few years back, you know, they do Victorian Christmas tours there. And this is a rare opportunity to have workers in the house at night. So what happened is one of the workers is shutting out in the evening and just going around blowing out the candles. And she said she was on the second floor. And from the end of one of the hallways, the bedrooms in the distance, she says she heard a woman singing. Now, it's amazing what goes through your head when you have these ghostly experiences. And I'm going to tell you that for the most part, there's no such thing as a jump scare. You actually rationalize what's going on, and the first thing she thinks is, what a beautiful singing voice. And then she realizes it shouldn't be happening. So at this point, thankfully she keeps her calm enough to blow out the rest of the candles, leaves the house, comes back the next day, and looks for any source, radio that was left behind, something that could cause the singing woman's voice, and there's nothing. So when you have this type of experience, you always dive into the history. And inside the history, we do have an explanation for this. The room where Lady McNabb, this would have been Sir Alan's first wife, where she died was at the end of that hall. And she died of a lung disease. So if you put a little common sense into that, you would think, right, well, if she loved singing in life, she has a lung disease, she can't sing anymore. What's the first thing she's going to do after she dies? Sing.
Hi, my name is Leanne Pluthrow. I'm an author, a historical researcher, and a historian in the city of Hamilton. The railroad right below it used to be this old wooden train shed thing. That was great. That was down below there before they redid it. Louisiana Station's right. That building has so many weird stuff going on because it was used as so many different things. We know that there is spirits of a girl who was pregnant and murdered on her way over here for a better life, and she was bricked up in the basement. We know that there's 16 guys also buried in the basement when the floor had collapsed on top of them from the railroad below. We know there was kids that were raped when it was the school. We know there was deaths in there along the way, and there are many spirits in that place, all different kinds, all different kinds, all different types, mean ones, nice ones. Like there's a little girl in the one locker room. She just looks to play. She likes to open and close the locker doors. And then you've got the dark lady who freaked out. And then the janitor that lived in the attic that killed himself. There's so many different types because of the history the type of building has.
Yeah, so you asked me about Century Manor. I'm going to tell you that out of all the historic locations in Hamilton that still remain today, this one just gets me. The worst of the worst are in there, and you get that energy around it. But we do have one experience that was from a security guard, probably the best source of ghost stories in general. This fellow, he was walking through the old tunnels that would exist under the structures. I don't know if they're still there. But he was coming down one of the tunnels that was near Century Manor, and he said that he heard some women talking in the distance. Now, he just assumes it's trespassers, because folks can get in there. There is access points. And he comes around the corner, you can see a door at the end of the hall, and that's where the talking is coming from, behind the door. So he walks up to the door, you can still hear them kind of whispering, it's a little muffled. And he decides he's gonna surprise them. And he counts to 3 and whips open the door to try and scare them, but he's the one that's taken aback. Because here's what he said. He said there was women sitting in the darkness, you could see the shadowed outlines, sitting at a table. And when he had opened the door, he heard one of the women whisper to the other, "See, I told you he would find us. Now, the one thing that you ask somebody is for the detail of what they've seen in front of them. And even though it was dark in the room, he said he did notice that the way the women were dressed, you couldn't see behind the wood table, but what they had on their heads kind of came up in like a square. And he thought, and he's convinced of it today, that it's like the old nursing hats, you know, the square nursing hats from the time of the asylum.
Now, a custom house is one of the, no, let me rephrase that. It is the haunted building in the city from my experience. As I mentioned, a century man, I mean, you know, you have these places of great history and it adds to the energy. So the custom house is interesting because over the generations, it's been many different things. I mean, obviously it started out as a custom house, so people come in and they pay their taxes when they came in on boats. But it also was a school. Shelter. They call this social services, but it was just basically homeless people who understand what. It was a macaroni factory. It's been museums. It was a karate dojo. I mean, there's just tons of history surrounding this place, and the amount of people who've walked in and out of it definitely gives it its energy. But nothing goes past the legend itself. This is the reason why the place is popular among the ghost community. Is because one of the oldest known ghosts in the city is from there, and she's known as the Dark Lady. Now, the story behind her, I'll just summarize. This young girl in England gets pregnant out of wedlock, so they're going to send her over to Canada to take her out of the village. And as she's coming over on the boat, it says she met and fell in love with the captain of the ship, and an affair is ensued, and at the end of it, as the lights of Hamilton are coming in the distance, the captain then realizes, oh right, I have a family and children, and this psychotic man murders the young lady, and in the dead of night when they come to Hamilton, he brings her over into the basement of the newly built custom house and puts her inside the wall of the vault. So that legend has existed for a very long time. And this idea of a woman in there that was written into a poem in the 1800s kind of spurred on the legend. So technically this ghost has been known about since the 1800s. So because of that knowledge over the years, people now believe her to be one of the most vivid ghosts in the city.
Thanks for watching this week's segment of Ignite News. I'm Graham Newark.
And I'm Andrew Cameron. Stay classy, Hamilton.